ሰላም ጤና ይስጥልኝ የኢትዮጵያ ኔትወርኪንግ አውስትራሊያ ተከታታዮች ይህ ፕሮግራም በአውስትራሊያ በተለያዩ ዓለማት ያሉ ኢትዮጵያኖችን እያቀረብን ያላቸውን ዕውቀትና ልምድ ለህብረተሰባችን ይጠቅማል ብለው የሚያስቡትን የሚያካፍሉበት መድረክ ነው። በዛሬው ዕለት ይዤላችሁ የቀረብኩት ወይዘሮ ሀና ታደሰ በሜልበርን ነዋሪ ሲሆኑ እንዲሁም ዛሬ ፕሮግራማችንን የምናቀርበው በእንግሊዝኛ ይሆናል። ሀና አማርኛ ትናገራለች፣ ግን ሞር እዚህ ለተወለዱ ልጆች መልእክቱ እንዲደርሳቸው ስለፈለግን በእንግሊዝኛ እናደርገዋለን ቃልና ምላሹን። አሁን ወደ ሀና መልሳለሁ። ሀንዬ thank you very much for your time and welcome to the networking Australia networking program. I would love to know about you a little bit because I know you came from Sydney to Melbourne. Just wanted to tell us your background, your education, and what do you do for living, all that. Thank you very much again. I'll leave the...
Thank you so much for having me. It's a real honor to be on your show, Marta. So my background, I moved here. So currently I'm living in Melbourne and moved here from Sydney about 4 years ago, and really loving living in Melbourne, besides the weather, as you know.
Yes.
So while I was in Sydney, my family's there as well, still now. I moved here with my husband. My background, I guess, is, my educational background. My undergrad is in education. I was a high school teacher for a few years before doing a master's in public health and health management, and then moving into the public health sector, where I work currently. So currently I work in programs and policy management for the state government, which is something that I really enjoy doing, having that bigger scope to see how different policies and programs can impact communities. So that's what I do now. I guess my other involvement is within the Ethiopian Women's Alliance. It's something that I'm really passionate about. I've really enjoyed working and volunteering with the Ethiopian Women's Alliance for the last 1.5 years. And currently I'm serving as the secretary with just an amazing group of women under Mayenesh Siyum's leadership, Dr. Mayenesh Siyum. And it's been a real privilege reconnecting back to the Ethiopian community and doing work within the community, different programs and projects. And now, especially with coronavirus, running a number of Zoom events. It's been a real privilege to do that. It's also helped me, really connect back to my culture, my Ethiopian tradition, and understanding, just understanding how things work within the community here in Melbourne, but then also improving my language. I feel like over the last, couple of years, my Amharic has improved, and that's because I'm, a little bit more connected to the community than I was before. And I definitely want to keep volunteering with the Alliance and see where it takes me.
Wow, thank you, Hania. That's impressive. I just wanted to ask you, what makes you to involve with the Women's Alliance? What's the first thing you think you're gonna gain, or what was the main idea of joining Women's Alliance?
I think, my background's been working with the community. If you're as a teacher, you're working with, students and the community. As in public health, you're working with the community to improve the health outcomes of different communities. And similarly, I think, volunteering with the Ethiopian Women's Alliance has given me the opportunity to really get involved within my community. I think too often, sometimes you get involved in other things, but I wasn't doing anything within the community, and I just really wanted to be a part of it, to connect, to really not lose my culture, living in Australia, which is sometimes really easy to do if you don't, if you're not actively involved in the community. So I think for me, one of my, my passions is being with community, is trying to improve the outcomes of community, whether it's social or health outcomes. And and really connecting with people. And, you know, this has given me the opportunity to meet a number of really strong Ethiopian leaders, men and women. So it's, yeah, I've really enjoyed it, I think, yeah.
Okay, thank you. What's the main role for you in a Women's Alliance?
So my main role at the moment is, as I said earlier, it's as a secretary. So this just, you know, I'm working with the other executive team members to ensure that the different projects that we plan in consultation with community are actioned. You know, we meet regularly, and it is, you know, a lot of the community might not see this, but, you know, we meet regularly during the week. We're calling each other to ensure that different events that we have coming up, whether they be educational or, you know, celebration of our culture and tradition, that they are run smoothly, and that we do speak to different community members to check on them and so on. So, you know, if you're not a part of the Ethiopian Women's Alliance, we've also got a Viber group where we really you know, share different encouraging words, firstly, to uplift women within the community. But then we also share different, you know, upcoming events or even advice from government, especially around coronavirus, and really just try to connect and make sure that, you know, especially during this time where a lot of people are alone and not really being able to meet because of the coronavirus restrictions, we just make sure that we're connecting different people to one another, but then also making sure that we're ourselves checking in on them.
Yeah, yeah. As myself, I'm watching all the Women's Alliance, what you guys doing. Really, it's empowering the community, empowering women, and like you said, uplifting. And it's a really amazing job you guys doing. Keep doing what you do because it's very important for the community. I just wanted to ask, there is a Zoom discussion today with Ethiopian with the Ethiopian Women's Alliance coordinating mental health specialized people to join to discuss about mental health. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, so tonight at 8 p.m. Via Zoom, we are running a mental health and wellbeing webinar. We will have, it will be looking at basically what is mental health. I think a lot of the time within our community, there is a stigma between mental health and mental illness. And we really want to break this down and really explain what the difference is, as well as really look at what are the most common mental illnesses within the society, within our society here in Victoria, here in Australia, and then also those that might you know, predominantly affect maybe young people or just the Ethiopian society here, and then the treatment options. I think sometimes we also really see mental illness as a life sentence, that, okay, we've got it, you know, this person or, you know, whether it's you or somebody else, that it's like a life sentence that you can't, you know, get better from it. But, you know, the specialists that we have joining us, who are Dr. Hanna Tadesse and Timmy Tokola, they will really break this down, really explain things to the community in Amharic so that we're all really understanding this critical information. Too often, you know, we have young people, or we have community members that are possibly going through a mental illness, but we're not there to support because we might not know where to get help or what it is exactly. And they'll really provide this foundational information to us so that we can better support the community who may be going through this, and also just, you know, share that this is really a common issue. You know, mental illness, it's affecting a lot of people around the world at the moment as well. So it's really important that we understand what it means for us and how we can, you know, seek the support that we need.
Okay. So what can we expect today, and what benefit our community will get out of this, do you think?
Yeah, so the Ethiopian Women's Alliance has run a similar project a couple of years ago. We brought in a professor to speak to the community, and we had a lot of people attend. Now, the only issue and feedback that we received was it wasn't in Amharic, so it was really at times difficult to understand everything that was being said. So what we've done is we've taken that feedback and we're bringing someone, 2 people in that speak Amharic, and one of them is from Australia, lived here a very long time, so really understands what's going on in the Ethiopian community. And the other colleague that will be joining is from London and working with minority groups there, including Ethiopians. So it's really just presenting information in our language so that we all understand, and really ensuring that we know where to go to get help and what it is, really breaking down that stigma that we often hold towards mental illness.
Yeah. I think the time is very important, especially now. It's our community. Most of the time we go to church for releasing our problems, our pressures and everything. But now being locked down for this long, obviously there is so many issues we will facing. And this is a very important time for us to be open and then discuss, like you said, the stigma. We need to be open up, and I think it's about time as a community to talk about it. It's a really important issue you guys are raising, and I'm really glad you're doing this at this moment, especially. Another thing I want to ask you, Hani, how can we reach the young generation to participate to this program? The actual tonight program?
Yeah, I think it's making sure that young people are engaged is a long-term process. But one thing I will tell you that we're doing is ensuring that we ourselves as an organization are going to young people, that we're listening to them, that we're engaging with them in the way we develop these events, making sure that they have a voice and want to hear the message that's being shared. I think that's really important. And then really engaging with them on the different platforms, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or other different social media, to ensure that they can hear this. But as a community, I think it's really important that we ensure that going forward that there are events that engage all age groups, that it's not just purely for middle-aged people, but also that the younger people have events that interest them, that are relevant to them. And that's what we're working towards. And I really encourage, if you're a young person out there and you're listening to this, I encourage you to get in touch with us, whether it's via Facebook or email, to give us your feedback on how we can improve, how we can engage your age group even more.
Very good. And the last question I want to ask you as an advice for, as a young woman as yourself, you involving Women's Alliance very heavily. What can you encourage? How can you encourage the young women out there and the young children out there to involve in their community, to give back and to change the community, what we have at the moment? We need more work. It's in several issues. How can you give them advice?
I think, it's really owning this community. We're all in it together. This is our community and we need to build it. We need to strengthen it together. And, my real passion, like I said earlier, is to work with the community, especially my own community, which perhaps before I wasn't super engaged in, but now I'm really wanting to engage because I see it that this is part of my identity. I am Ethiopian, whichever way you look at it. So I think it's making sure that my community and other people that are my age, older, younger, are thriving, and making sure that they are able to access different information, access educational opportunities or whatever it is, but making sure that we are able to access and also thrive within this society in Victoria and also in Australia. And my message to young people is get involved, volunteer. You have a lot to offer. And the only way us as a community can grow is firstly by coming together, by uniting, by working together. And everyone has something to offer. And when we help each other with with a pure mind and spirit to actually advance the whole of the community, then I think we can really make a difference here in Victoria and also in Australia.
Absolutely, I agree with you, Hanna. Thank you very much. So what time is the program today? I just want you to tell us what time and how can we get in to follow the program tonight.
Yeah, so the event is being streamed via Zoom. And if you are able to go to our Facebook, there is an event out 8 p.m. tonight via Zoom. The link is provided there as well. You can, join us by there. We will also be live streaming this on Facebook. So if you're not able to attend for whatever reason, you can see the live stream on our Facebook. Feel free to provide us any comments. If you've got any questions, you can send us a DM on Facebook or send us an email and we can follow that up for you. But, we really encourage you to join. This is really important, 8 p.m. tonight on Zoom.
Okay, thank you very much, Hanna, for your time. Is there anything you wanted to say or?
I think, in closing, I'm just really excited to be working with the Ethiopian community here in Victoria. And I just really hope that we continue to work with one another in partnership to really, provide, bigger, greater outcomes for Ethiopian people, not only young people, but also all people, that we have access to different areas that other people have access. Sometimes we just don't know, but hopefully by really growing EWAV and other community organizations, we actually have access to this. So if you're interested in this, I really encourage you to come volunteer with us. We do need people to help us to do this. It is a volunteer role, so we need helpers. So come and volunteer.
Yeah. I really thank you, Hanna, for your time. You make an effort to do this show with me because I know it's a common ground for you and me. It's our community issues. It's very important. And I would love to say thank you again for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.